Hello, here we go. It's the Kopite podcast.
We made it. Our game is not postponed. Fucking get in. Let's have some red. Right, the team's out. Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Nat Phillips, Fabinho, Andy Robertson, James Milner, Jordan Henderson, Curtis Jones, Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, Roberto Firmino. Right, I'm going to come to you, Tim, first, mate. What do you make of that lineup so far?
Certainly interesting that he's decided to kind of leave Wijnaldum out. I think he's probably been one of our more consistent guys. I understand, obviously, that he's probably kind of looking to rest him a little bit. He's obviously probably him and Robertson, the only guys that haven't really missed any time this year. Front three, nothing changed, and the inclusion of Phillips is interesting. But I think that, you know, Newcastle pose a different kind of threat to most teams in the fact that they've got size with Wilson and Joe Linton up front. So I think that, you know, including Nat Phillips is more, you know, he's looking at it and going, oh, we need kind of a physical centre back alongside Fabinho to dominate in the air so that we're not giving up much. And I think Nat Phillips has proven in the games that he's played, he's a fearless player. He's not afraid of a tackle or, you know, of a challenge in the air. And I think that he's gone with that kind of a mindset that he's going to be needed today.
Yeah, good. Mick, before I come on to the starting lineup for yourself, I'm just going to read out the subs bench for you. Kelleher, Wijnaldum, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Minamino, Shaqiri, Origi, Williams, and the one and only Thiago Alcantara. So straight away, when you look at that bench, it's a lot stronger than we've had over the last few months, really, isn't it? So your thoughts on the lineup and the bench, mate?
Firstly, huge having Thiago back. I mean, it was some of the Klopp comments from yesterday. I think he was kind of saying that he's unlikely to travel. So there was the typical doom and gloom on Twitter because obviously we've not been told. Klopp's been quite keeping his cards close to his chest, hasn't he? So it's been difficult to gauge like where we're up to with Thiago. But him on the bench there and seeing Milner in centre mid, I reckon he might take him off at half time and do 45 each with Thiago. If not, he'll do like a 60-minute maybe and put Thiago on for last half hour. Might as well, especially if hopefully we've got a couple of goals. I'm hoping then he'll bring him on sooner. So the sooner the better, really, because we need to get minutes in Thiago's legs, definitely. But seeing him on the bench there, like, it just makes you feel happy inside, doesn't it?
It does indeed, mate. And like Matt has just said there, you know, Tim, you said it brilliantly before that Genie needs a rest, and Matt has just said that it's a team more than capable of winning. And then obviously the Thiago influence as well. My favourite player of all time. So yeah, I mean, James Milner coming back as well. I do like that. I always like when Millie plays. We've got really good experience with him and stuff like that. Now, looking from a negative side of point of view, Tim, there was obviously a lack of creativity in that midfield in the last game. Maybe it was just the fact that we had a bit of an off time. But to play devil's advocate, because that's part of my job, to get opinions out of people, having Milner, Hendo and Jones in there, is that restrictive in terms of creativity, or do you see no changes? Do you think it is what it is and we'll still have that creativity?
Well, it's interesting because Newcastle kind of, I know obviously we having played West Brom and they essentially played a 6-4-0 for the first half. It's kind of interesting because I think Newcastle will probably set up in a similar sort of way. I think that having seen how that worked against the Liverpool side that was lacking creativity a little bit in the midfield, I think that, you know, Steve Bruce would have looked at that and gone, oh, this might be a recipe to beat them. It's similar to what Brighton did to us as well. But I wonder if he's gone for a more defensive lineup in the midfield in order to get more out of the likes of Trent and Robbo. Because I think that's he saw, especially in the first half, Robbo just absolutely nailing balls in the box, and there was, you know, so many good ones that we didn't get on the end of. You know, Mo Salah fluffed a chance from a corner, and you know there was, I think, in the first 20 minutes, I think Robbo put in four crosses that were just begging to be put in. So I'm wondering if he's put in Milner and Henderson and Jones just to be able to kind of like cover for them so that they can kind of venture forward a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case.
No, absolutely, mate. And Mick, just to emphasise what Tim's just saying there, and obviously Matt has just put that in as well. Keeping Wilson quiet will be the important one, which is obviously their main threat. Now, obviously, you spoke to Kendall yesterday in terms of the threats and what Newcastle are capable of. Do you see this team that we're going to start with more than capable to deal with what she said last night?
I hope so. Like, she wasn't too positive about the whole thing, but I think there was a doubt on whether Wilson's fit, and the fact that he is, it's a thorn in our side because he's got that pace and he'll run into channels and he can cause the likes of Trent, and especially if Nat Phillips is on the right hand side, I imagine he'll drift to the left at every opportunity to try and use his pace against those two. But see, I'm looking at live score and it's just changed on me. It's just switched up. So it's looking like a 5-4-1 on here. I don't know what you think, but it's gonna be. Do you reckon it's
Can't see that.
No, it's going to be a 4-4-2 in it with Jolinton and Wilson up front in it.
Yep.
I would say so. But then again, probably the way West Brom played against us, were playing men behind the ball. Newcastle might just say, "Well, fuck it, let's just do 5 and we'll get a point." Yeah, you just don't know, do you? It could do.
They've just changed it to put Wilson on the left, which I kind of understand if he did, but like he needs to be up top. Like that, I'd be very surprised if he's not on, but up top. Trying to get in behind because that's their outlet, isn't it? Obviously, Jacob Murphy's pretty quick as well. So I think whoever's done this has been on the bevies since early doors. We've just changed it again to 3-4-3. Fucking hell.
There you go. Well, exactly. And they just go to show that the one thing we should always do is concentrate on ourselves, concentrate on our own game, innit? Exactly. Tim, obviously looking at the big news that our number 6 is now back. Which is obviously fantastic news for everybody. It's giving everybody a lift. It'll give the fan base a bit of a lift. Do you see that Klopp might have included him just for the sake of giving that lift, or do you think we will actually see Thiago tonight?
Obviously, I certainly hope to see him tonight. I think it would be a good little run-in, nice little end to the year to see what has been one of our most promising signings for a while come onto the pitch and hopefully make a difference. But even if he doesn't, I think Klopp's used him as even if he included him in the matchday squad as a bit of a threat, because like we've just mentioned, there's not really much outstanding creativity in that midfield. So for Klopp even to have Thiago on the bench, for Steve Bruce, it'll keep him aware. I don't think he'll be able to play 5 behind the 5-6 guys behind the ball all the time, because I think it will make Klopp wonder if he will have to bring Thiago onto the field just to change things up. So I think it's keeping Steve Bruce on his toes as well as obviously the whole fan base, because I think everyone will be rubbing their hands together and waiting for that 6 to be shown on the board for whoever he's replacing.
Yeah, true. And Mick, with like you said before, might do 45 each if we bring in Thiago on. I think what Tim said there is spot on. If he's fit, he plays, doesn't he? Regardless of whether we're 1-0 down at half time or we're 3-0 up at half time. I think he does play, and Matt has just said a really important thing as well. He does need the minutes in him, because we will need him for the United game, which obviously we're about to enter January, and that game is around the corner. So it's going to be so important, especially with the way the table looks at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially as we've went into Tier 3 as well, Liverpool, so there's going to be no more fans. So that's an already disadvantage from not having any fans in the stadium. But yeah, getting as many minutes in the legs. Obviously, we've got Newcastle, then we've got Southampton away, Aston Villa away in the Cup, then we've got United at home. So I'm just made up he's back, because he's back in the squad. That means he's fit to play. That means he's fit to come on. He can get some minutes in the legs, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts that game against Villa in the Cup, just to get as many minutes in the legs as he can for that one, ready for the United game. But yeah, that's the big one I'm looking forward to. But we still need to do a job tonight. So yeah, if he comes on, then great. Even if he comes on for the last 10 minutes, because I think the way we lined up, I'm really happy with it, because like Tim said, like Millie can drop in perfectly for Robbo. It's set up perfectly for the fullbacks to just go and create absolute havoc. Like Millie drops in left back. That's where he's played quite a lot of football for us. Curtis Jones or Hendo can drop him for Trent, like they always do when he bombs forward. So it's perfectly set up, and we always look at the midfield going, there's no creativity in there, but the creativity is the front three and the wing backs in it mostly. Unless, obviously, when we put Thiago in there, the system gets completely switched on its head, and we have loads more creativity in there, and we can count on him to channel most of the creativity. But yeah, tonight I just hope we get an early goal. That's what I'm hoping for. A nice early goal, and then push on from there, because I don't want a repeat of West Brom, because I spoke to about this with Kendall about like getting a goal, and then like Steve Bruce plays like a similar way where he has like quite a few men behind the ball, and the longer the game goes on, we don't want a repeat of last week. We can't afford it. Man United are only 2 points behind us now. I mean, like, it's still early days in terms of the season, but we need to keep ticking over and like be more of a machine like we were last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely a nice lineup for us to get the 3 points, isn't it, Tim? But Tim, I'll come to you for your score prediction. I know you mentioned one the other day, but let's get your score prediction as the game's about to kick off in 50 minutes. Yeah,
well, I think that we've responded well after every game that we've had, like West Brom. You know, we drew to Fulham, went on to beat Tottenham and Crystal Palace, drew to Brighton. I can't remember who we played, but we won the next 2 games. So, yeah, I'm expecting a win tonight. I'm going to go with a 3-0. I think we'll be fairly convincing. I think that we'll probably see Thiago on the pitch. I think that that'll open up Firmino to be able to kind of like be more of an attacking threat and not drop into the midfield as much, because he won't have to. But yeah, I think 3-0. I think we'll be fairly convincing tonight.
I reckon we just have Tim on, just saying all like the South American names all the time.
Let's get him and Matt just doing that backwards and forwards. Just get him and Matt to do it all the time. Mick, what are you saying?
I said 3-1 yesterday. I'm going to stick with it. Like, now that Callum Wilson is starting, I do fancy him to score. I just hope it's not first. Although it might be the good thing they score first, because it gives us a kick up the arse. I don't know, but I do fancy they'll score. But I'm going to stick with 3-1. What about you, Rob? What are you going for?
I'm going with 3-1 as well. Like I said the other day, I'm not changing that, and I do believe we'll probably go 1-0 down again. It's just one of them things, isn't it? But we'll just have a fucking storm, won't we? But like I said, I'm pleased that Nat Phillips is starting. I think, I do like him. He's got great potential and stuff like that, and it's another game under his belt, and hopefully another man of the match performance from him, in terms of he won't have much to do, because he's that good. Let's see, keep throwing it out there. But that's it. What we'll do, we'll be straight back as soon as the full time whistle goes, maybe about 5 to 6 minutes, depending on whether we're crying or we're actually in tears of joy. And I go get another beer. So grab yourselves a beer, and we'll see you after the game.